Hello to all the listeners. My name is Auren Israel and I am the chairman of Auren Israel, the leading international consulting firm in Israel. Auren Israel is part of international network of offices operating in more than 70 countries and over 300 branches worldwide. As part of our podcast channel, we are excited to share with you the special podcast season which focus on the world of life science and their business application. We will host here key people who will share with us their point of view about research, academia, application, and business in the field of science. Dear listeners, I'm happy that you joined us for the second episode with Dr. Dan Gelvan, who will speak with us about digital health in the post-COVID era. In the first episode, he gave us his point of view regarding the right way to conduct the venture capital activity, and now he'll share with us more opinions and insight regarding digital health. Amir, can you please start with the first question?
So, Dan, I must admit that in the first episode, I was very curious to understand more deeply, and unfortunately, we don't have enough time concerning the way that you are acting, especially during this period. But let's focus on the COVID 19 that we are doing in the middle of a crisis. And I think that the world has been changed and will continue to be changed because of this health crisis. From your point of view, how do you think the main impact of COVID 19 will be on the digital health?
So I think COVID-19 has been huge and is huge still for digital health. I think what we all have seen throughout this crisis is that we this was a stress test for the healthcare systems in the whole world, and I think we can say without insulting anyone that the system failed. The system did not live up to the expectations. Look at New York in the beginning, where there was a complete collapse of the system. Some of the states in the U.S., as we're speaking last week of November today, some of the states there are no more free ICU beds. Things have not worked well, and as I said in the previous episode, digital health is all about creating workflows. So, what COVID has done is it has shown us all publicly that there is something going on in the workflows that needs to be changed in hospitals and in the healthcare system in general. If you needed a hernia surgery since March this year in New York, you would probably still be walking around with pain because they would still not have been able to do elective surgery up until now when we're in the end of November. And this is not up to the expectations we have from the system. So I think we are going to see a large amount of adoptions of new workflows, digital workflows. We're going to see a lot of medicine probably moving out of hospitals into clinics to make more distributed systems, to make us less dependent on a single location, for example. And these are things we've been doing for hundreds of years, for tens of years in other industries. And no insurance company would store all their data at one location. There would always be a backup. Where is the backup for central hospital? Where is the other hospital? And all of these things have now become evident, I think, both to the public and to providers and to politicians. We need to have a much leaner system, a much more agile system that can live up to our expectations and continue to deliver even during a pandemic.
Dan, I think that currently everybody understands that no doubt you are right and backup plans are essential. But let me take you back to the point of view of venture capital and from the point of view of investors that we are presenters of them in Israel, and also we are representing and consulting for quite a lot of startups in this field. And I was wondering, uh, where do you see business opportunities in digital health in the post-COVID era? Can you maybe elaborate a little bit about that?
So Around a month and a half ago, I felt sick, probably like everyone else who thinks they have COVID. And I immediately put on a patch that gives the same kind of monitoring as you would have in an ICU. I have it at home because I'm involved in it. I took a screenshot of my screen and I sent it to my doctor, and he said, "Listen, go and do a corona test. It doesn't look right." So this is segueing into my answer. I think there are huge opportunities in connected care, in remote care, and in home care. I think it's important to remember worldwide, the majority of COVID patients were isolated and hospitalized at home. We are not anywhere near having the technologies to hospitalize patients at home. And I think we're going to see a huge surge in this field where we're going to see a lot of new technologies enabling us to be hospitalized at home. We are going to see higher levels of acuity of patients at home. We're going to see many more patients. We're going to see the home as a natural extension of the hospital. So there's a lot of technology that goes into this. I think we're going to see a profound move towards predictive medicine as opposed to reactive medicine. We're going to predict things. I think we're all very disappointed that no one predicted the outbreak of a pandemic. This came as a complete surprise to all of us, and this is hugely disappointing. In 2020, that something of this size surprised all of us. Almost no one had a catastrophe, an emergency plan for this, almost no government. The German government did not know how many free ICU beds they had at a national level. And you say to yourself, that is absolutely unacceptable. So I think we'll see a lot of new predictive systems coming in where we're going to try to predict what's happening and not just react to symptoms and not just react, I feel bad, I go to my physician. The last thing is, I think by adopting a lot of connected care, we're going to see a lot of near real time analytics. We are going to see sensors that immediately give a response and tells us to do something, much like the Apple Watch, for example, that will suddenly tell you, please put your finger on the device. You need to record an ECG because you may be going through atrial fibrillation. So these are the kind of things where we're actually going to be wearing the analytics, or the analytics is going to come back from the cloud. So in all the fields of mobile health and connected care, remote care, home care, and analytics, I think we are going to see very, very significant opportunities, and I'm very excited about these.
So let me ask you a scientific or science fiction question. You spoke about AI, you spoke about cloud, you spoke about big data, and all the most modern technology that we have today. Can we predict, or is it possible to predict, that in 5 years from now, we will not need a close relation with our doctors, or maybe we will need less doctors because of the AI? What is your opinion? I know it is a science fiction, but I'm very interested to understand your point of view.
I think when I come to my doctor and I haven't seen him for a while, he will ask me, "So, how are you doing?" And I look at him and I say, "What do you mean, how am I doing? I came to you to ask how I'm doing." And I think these are the things that are going to change. I think and I hope. And I don't know what part of it is that I really think it's going to happen and what part of it is I hope. That I walk into my doctor periodically in 5 years from now, and he's already going to know how I feel because he will have had data streaming in from me. It would have been analyzed, it would have been presented to him, and he will know how I feel. And it's not going to be this, I see him once every half a year and he has no idea what's going on with me between two visits. So, yes, will we be done in 5 years? No. But will we have a completely different relationship to medicine and wellness? And will our doctors be differently involved in what's going on with us when we're in the hospital? And this is a good example, and maybe it's more relevant in Israel, but I think it's relevant in many other territories. Your doctor has absolutely no idea what's going on with you if when you're in the hospital. He doesn't even know you're in the hospital. You get dismissed, and you get a dismissal note, and you go to your doctor, and he looks at it. I think we are going to create a lot of continuums. There's going to be the pre-hospitalization, the hospitalization, and the post-hospitalization. We're going to connect all of these things. And yes, there will be predictive systems. We may all end up, for example, with a risk scoring. They're going to say, Amir, you are unfortunately at risk for this, or Fear, unfortunately, you're at risk for this. So you should take care, and you should come more frequently for screening. We should keep an eye on it, watchful waiting, etc., etc. And yes, I think we are getting there. Technologies are getting cheaper. Technologies are getting better. And one of the things COVID has done, it has created some openness in the system for these new technologies. So I'm excited.
And yes, I'm so excited, but I would like to add another level in this scientific or the future know-how. You spoke about AI and you spoke about our ability to have a self-examination about our health. But when I'm looking on the community level, we need one things forward. We need the interconnection between different communities and maybe from different countries. Do you think that it can be done, that we will have an international data center with all the disease, with all the information stored somewhere, and with the advanced AI solution, I, as Samir, will be able to predict myself what will be my health situation?
First of all, I hope, and this is, by the way, one of the things I've been most excited about, the incredible amount of international and global information sharing during the COVID crisis. Essentially, anything they learned in Wuhan and in China is as relevant to any patients in the world, whether he's in Lapland, in the US, or in Brazil. So there's been a lot of data sharing. Everyone is, though, very, very concerned about sharing raw data. So I don't know how these are going to interconnect, but I hope, because numbers matter here, that we will be able and we will have tools as patients to do a lot more than we did before. I don't think you should trust the patients too much because there are serious matters at stake here. But I think with the correct AI tools, with the correct systems, regulatory systems, QA and QC systems, and privacy, of course, we can actually provide people with the ability to take their health in their own hands, which is you really can't say about any of us today. We are all just waiting for a symptom to appear, call the doctor, then get upset about how long time it takes to see the doctor, and then expect the doctor to be a wizard and do magic. And I hope this is what's going to change.
So we need to wait for a young entrepreneur that will take this challenge and will connect all of us in one single database. So let's take an example that in a couple of years from now, a young person would like to be an entrepreneur and enter into your office with an idea how to do it. What would be your best advice for him? What he should do? What kind of action plan he should do in order to convert his idea into reality based on your experience?
First of all, I'm going to be supportive because I'm always supportive of people who want to make a change. My best advice would be, first of all, make sure that you're solving a real problem. We tend to, and everyone tends to be able and willing to pay to solve real problems. So first of all, make sure that this is a problem that is not only your problem or you perceive it as a problem, but no one else does. And second of all, think product. we are not talking, especially in digital health, we are not just talking about technologies. Technologies are maybe not so important. We are talking about products. Do we create an experience for everyone who is involved? Do we create a better patient experience, a better caregiver experience? Do we actually maybe also save money for the system? And do we finally also generate a better clinical outcome? So there are sort of a quadruple aim here that I would make sure that he lives up to. If he provides a better caregiver experience, a better patient experience, saves some money on the road, and also a better clinical outcome, then you probably have a winner. So I would make him think in terms of the product from day one. The second thing I would really advise is get experienced people involved. I think any successful startup needs the experience of people who've done it before, but they also need the optimism of people who haven't done it. So the success is going to be someone who believes that it can be done because he hasn't failed in it before, and someone who has already failed and knows how not to fail again. So I would say get good people involved at a very early stage. Recruit the absolutely best team you can get away with. If you have $100, buy $100 team. If you have $1 million, buy $1 million team. The people will make you succeed.
Dan, I think that those are excellent recommendation, not only for a young entrepreneur, but for every good business people
Yeah,
that will be in the future.
absolutely.
So, Dan, I want to thank you for sharing with us in this second episode of digital health in the post-COVID era, from your opinion from the point of view of an active and involved venture capital, which is quite interesting involvement that you have with your investors and entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
So,
Yeah, any words for finishing?
yeah, just thank you very much for the opportunity. It was a great pleasure and great questions. I hope that the listeners are going to enjoy it as well. And you're more than welcome to contact us, especially if you have an opportunity we can look at.
Yeah, I have no doubt that our listener will enjoy your recommendation and your point of view, and hopefully be in touch in the near future.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you and to thank our listeners for joining us for this podcast. And I hope that you will join us for future podcasts. And if you have any good idea for topic or someone to interview, we'll be happy to hear. Wishing you a good day, Ophir Angel and Amir Kahani from Auren Israel.